I invited 7 players to play on a Minecraft world nobody was supposed to find. I found it by accident, buried on channel with 0 subscribers, named Grey Atlas, with only 1 upload, Experiment 248. No explanation, just a download link in the description. I barely look at the world myself, but it seemed interesting enough, so I sent invite to 7 anonymous players. I didn't give them goals, no challenges, no instructions, just one rule: play. The world was closed, limited space, limited resources, and I stayed in spectator. But one of them, Andy, recorded and sent me his full point of view after it was over. The rest of the players either didn't record their POV or just didn't bother sending it to me. But at least we have this one recording. And what happened inside this world didn't go the way I expected. First thing I noticed, all players follow the anonymous setup. No custom skins, just solid colors, no identity, and their names weren't visible at all. Chat was disabled, no voice, no proximity mode. The only way they could communicate was by writing on signs, which meant every message took effort. And when speaking is hard, actions speak first. The world itself was wrong. One giant underground cave, completely sealed. 8 houses, built in circle, around a single campfire. A small forest, small mine, artificial terrain, like it was placed, not grown. And carved into the cave walls, strange symbols. Once everyone loaded in, they naturally gathered at the fire. No one spoke yet, no signs placed, just watching each other. And then someone noticed it. A barrel floating directly above the campfire. For a few seconds, nobody moved. Then one of them stopped waiting. He didn't ask, didn't signal, just started building up, straight toward the barrel, like he already decided he should be the one to open it. Inside, there was a book. No loot, no tools, just rules. Share resources equally. Respect houses. Water is communal. No stealing, no killing. After the rules were read, nobody commented. They didn't discuss them. They didn't question them. They just scattered. Like the experiment had already begun, without needing permission. Some went for houses, some for resources, some just walked, like they were looking for something specific. Looking at Andy's footage, he wasn't rushing. He started simple. Wood first. Eventually, one player joined him in the forest. But the player wasn't doing anything. No mining, no tools, just standing there. Every time Andy moved, they adjusted position. Not attacking, not leaving, just staying behind him. Then they finally said something. That was it. No explanation. One by one, they returned to the fire. Andy was the last to arrive, but a meeting had already started. One player had taken control of the conversation. No discussion, just direction. And we also get to know the name of player with purple skin, Highcrest, which, in a world without identities, felt intentional. Most accepted it. 1 house each. Simple. Then someone tried to claim 2, not by mistake, on purpose. This was the first fracture. The rulebook said one thing very clearly: split everything equally. And before the group even settled in, someone tried to take more than their share. And that rule didn't even last 10 minutes. From Andy's POV, we get a look inside one of the houses. Nothing special, just the basics. A chest, crafting table, furnace, bed, and a small attic. Hay bales, and a few storage barrels. Whoever built this world planned for survival. Andy decides to break a few hay bales and craft some bread. He checks the barrels too, but they are all empty, and by the looks of it, every house is exactly the same. Of course, some players immediately started customizing their homes, adding small details, blocking windows, rearranging storage, maybe for privacy, or maybe just to make it feel like theirs. After settling in, Andy tried something simple: leave. He started digging down, expecting caves or deeper stone. 3 blocks later, bedrock. Not deep underground bedrock, surface level bedrock. So he tried the wall instead. One layer of stone, then bedrock again. This wasn't a cave, it was a box. Andy tried to tell Highcrest what he found. No response, not even acknowledgement. Highcrest just kept moving. Not everyone focused on survival. One player kept returning to the same structure, a sealed bedrock box, placed too deliberately to ignore. No entrance, no cracks, no visible mechanism, just box. He tested every side, corners, floor, edges, like he didn't doubt what it was, only how to open it. He wasn't alone for long. Highcrest arrived, and immediately took position. They didn't know how to open it yet, but both already assumed it belonged to them. A few minutes later, Andy arrived, but then the vault wasn't a mystery anymore. Very quickly, one problem became obvious. There was only one water source, one well, for 7 players. One player decided to simply take it for himself. He quickly mined 3 iron ores and made a bucket. However, one player saw him. One player approached Andy, not to argue, but to share. A hidden book found inside a barrel in one of the attic rooms. It described a strange mechanic, a way to multiply water using plants. The riddle wasn't obvious. None of them solved it at first. It hinted a way to multiply water using bone meal, like a hidden challenge from the map's creator. The strange part? Orange found it in his attic, but Andy's attic was empty, which meant one thing. The houses weren't identical, and small note from later, there were 4 more books hidden in total, randomly placed. Not every discovery was shared. Some players didn't announce what they found. They followed it quietly. One of the hidden books led here. A clue pointing to something buried, behind the mountain's right side. Ancient debris, enough for power, not enough for everyone. And he didn't leave a sign, not a message, not a warning. Red doesn't always arrive as chaos. Sometimes it begins as warmth. sitting quietly under the surface. A feeling that something isn't fair, that the balance is wrong. And instead of asking, prepares to take. Not louder, not faster, just closer to the breaking point. Some fires don't explode, they decide. Decide they have waited long enough. Decide they deserve more. Decide resistance is the answer. And once heat turns into flame, it rarely stops where it planned to. The well had only one source, and someone decided it didn't belong to everyone. But honestly, was water even that important here? What would you use the water for? Hydrated farmland? There is no grass or crops in the cave whatsoever. Survival? There is no real fall risk, and you can also use boats. Brewing? One water source will be enough for that. So what was the point of water? Maybe the answer comes later. Andy decided to go check out the mine. He used his wooden pickaxe to mine stone. He used cobblestone to make stone pickaxe. He used his stone pickaxe to mine iron ore, which he smelt, and made iron pickaxe. He used his iron pickaxe to mine diamonds, he used diamonds to make diamond tools, and then he noticed something that didn't make sense. Andy tried to find ancient debris behind diamonds, but he quickly realized that there is no ancient debris behind diamonds. So far, everyone has chosen direction. Some teamed up, some started solving problems, some explored the limits of the cave, but not everyone moved forward. One of them mostly watched. Staying near, but never leading. Getting close, but never committing. Blue is often mistaken for calm, still, quiet, observing. But stillness doesn't mean absence of want. Some desires don't shout, they follow. Staying just behind, watching long enough to feel close, without being invited. Not searching for things, searching for someone. Attention can feel like warmth, even when it isn't returned. And when closeness becomes hunger, distance starts to feel unbearable. Not every pursuit looks like a chase. Sometimes it just looks like staying too near.
I'm home again.
The vault kept pulling attention, not because anyone knew what was inside, but because it existed. 3 players kept coming back to it, testing angles, counting blocks, looking for mistakes. They treated it like a puzzle, like it wanted to be opened. They weren't guessing anymore, they were assuming intention. After a while, progress slowed, then stopped. And just like that, the world went quiet again. Which is interesting, because the answer already existed. The instructions were hidden in one of the attic barrels, but the player who received the house never checked. Standing still, sitting by campfire, sometimes secrets aren't hidden well, they are just found by the wrong person. From a survival side, the world looked complete, at least at first glance. There were trees, even if they look slightly odd. Water, ores, basic shelter. But one thing was missing: no mobs. Which means no natural food source, no grass for seeds, no animals, no safety net. Sure, each house had a few hay bales, enough for bread at the start, but long term, that wouldn't last. And with no visible exit from the cave, survival wasn't about gathering. It was about figuring out what the world expected them to discover. Andy started to stalk a player with red skin. He didn't like that someone had progressed way too fast. No explanation, no proof, just an answer that ended the conversation, without satisfying it. And something small changed here. Not anger, not yet. But comparison. That moment, progress stops being personal and starts being measured against someone else. Green is the color of growth, but not all growth comes from within. Sometimes it grows from watching someone else rise first, measuring distance, measuring progress, measuring worth with borrowed rulers. It doesn't want the path, only the position at the end of it. And the closer someone stands to success, the harder it becomes not to look sideways, not hunger for more, hunger for theirs. Comparison is quiet, but it spreads faster than fire. At first, it looks like the world gives them everything they need to survive. Shelter, wood, water, basic food. Except it doesn't. When you look closer, almost nothing here is truly renewable. Sure, each house has hay bales, enough to make bread for a while. But there are no animals, no passive mob spawns. Which means once that food runs out, it's gone. Even the forest is misleading. The trees are spruce, which is normal, but the leaves are flowering azalea, and unlike any other leaves in Minecraft, they don't drop as saplings. But they do drop azalea bushes, which can grow into trees, except they can't. The trees can grow only using bone meal, and no mobs means no skeletons. No skeletons means no bones means no bone meal, which just doesn't make sense. And then I realized. The first book hinted reproducing water with bone meal, which means bone meal must be obtainable somehow. And we already found 3 hidden books out of 4, so I assumed the last one was meant to explain how. Unfortunately, no one found another book after that. Players didn't really unite to search, most kept what they discovered to themselves. But we might not even need a missing book, because there is a solution: the composter. There is no grass, but players can craft shears and collect flowering azalea leaves. Those can be composted. There aren't many, but enough to produce a few bone meal. Just enough to start a chain. Grass, seeds, wheat, more compost, more bone meal, and eventually renewable wood and food. But of course that will require planning, sharing information, not wasting resources. So realistically, it probably won't happen. Not every conflict starts loud. Some begin quietly. Orange already knew about who held the war. Their problems, their effort, their voices. Distance creates comfort. Not having to kneel, not having to ask, not having to listen. When you stand higher long enough, you stop wondering how you got here. Advice becomes instruction. Suggestion becomes command. And silence from others starts to feel like agreement. But perspective isn't truth, it's just position. No deal, no sharing, just lines drawn. And hunger doesn't like to be denied. Enough rarely feels like enough. Once waiting becomes habit. Need turns into extra. Extra turns into more. More turns into just in case. Taking feels safer than trusting. Full hands feel better than shared ones. And when something is limited, urgency disguises itself as justification. But appetite doesn't measure fairness. When they gathered again, something was off. Not louder, not broken, just missing. There were 7 at the start. No one answered the question, no with words. And in a world this small, people don't just disappear. Some answers are avoided, not because they are hard, but because they are final. Some players searched, some planned, some fought for control, and some didn't move at all. One of the hidden books was never even taken out. Some places don't feel dangerous, just unfinished. Tools are nearby, answers are nearby, movement is optional. Nothing stops progress, except the decision to begin it. Delay feels harmless when the walls don't move. Quiet can pretend to be peace. Waiting can pretend to be thinking. And doing nothing can look exactly like being careful. But unopened paths don't open themselves, and untouched solutions slowly expire. By now, something felt off. The world had answers, but no one finished the questions. The vault was still closed. Most of the hidden books were never found. The ones that were rarely shared. Water could have been multiplied. Food could have been secured. Escape might have been possible. But knowledge stayed private. Plans stayed unfinished. Cooperation stayed temporary. Everyone was playing, but not together, and the experiment was stuck. It was running out of patience. Ownership feels safe. When it's yours, it feels protected. When it's shared, it feels at risk. One becomes two, two becomes not enough. Closed hands starts to feel like control, and control starts to feel like survival. But unused resources expire the same as empty ones. A locked chest feeds no one, and saved solution still counts as wasted if it's never opened. And just like that, everything stopped. No warning, no conclusion screen, just frozen. No one escaped, no one solved it. Most of the answers were already here, just never used. The vault stayed closed, the books stayed hidden, the resources stayed divided, the goal stayed mystery. They weren't competing, but they never truly cooperated either. I thought this world was a puzzle map, but it wasn't testing intelligence, it was testing behavior. And behavior is harder to solve than any riddle. Experiment